Each season, Guys Telling Stories seeks out fascinating people with a good story to tell. I'm Bill Easton, and the man beside me, my co-host, Rich Douglas. We're a couple of guys who love a good story, so join us on our quest to find fascinating people with a good story to tell. This is Guys Telling Stories.
All right, welcome. I'm excited about our guest today, Benjamin Watson.
Me too.
Absolutely, yeah. Not only is he an NFL player, he is a Super Bowl champion.
And he's, I think he's with the Ravens right now.
Yeah. He actually was injured last season, and he's doing some rehab right now. And we're really pumped to talk to him because he has a new book out, The New Dad's Playbook.
I hope he's not calling from a treadmill or cycle machine with his rehab, because that would get loud.
Well, I think he might be done with his training for the day, but we're excited to talk to him. Quick reminder that we do need your help in deciding the winner of our t-shirt design contest this season. So people have been sending us messages. Who's winning? I'm not going to say just yet because we have an idea. We have an idea. We still need your help deciding a winner, and we're going to give away a t-shirt of your choice. Here's how it works. The design challenge had me and Bill each making our own custom t-shirt, and it's up to you, the listeners, to help us decide whose t-shirt is best this season. We're going to give away one t-shirt of your choice, to one listener who shares the episode. Let's do it on Facebook. So Benjamin Watson's episode today, share it on Facebook, and we'll randomly select one winner, and then they get a t-shirt.
Can I win?
You cannot win.
Oh.
Because then you'd pick your own shirt, and everyone has to pick my shirt. So
I gotcha.
These are custom designed shirts, and you can get yours today by going to GuysTellingStories.com, clicking on merch. That's GuysTellingStories.com. Click on merch to check out the shirts and buy the one you think is best.
I'm going to check out that random drawing very carefully.
Well, don't forget to share Benjamin's episode, and that will enter you in our t-shirt giveaway.
Sounds good. Well, as you guys know, Rich and I shop on Amazon. You know what I bought today?
What'd you get?
I bought for my truck a little magnet that your phone attaches to. Now, I have one already. I know what you're thinking because you're in my car, and it goes in the
air vents, right? It
goes in the air vents.
Hold your phone?
It holds my phone in the air vents, and there's a magnet. But it was hot today for a change here in Buffalo, and I wanted the air to come out and actually hit me.
Okay.
And when you put it in there, the phone sits and blocks the air vent. So I was like, I gotta get something else.
There has to be an easier way.
There has to be so I got one that actually attaches to the dashboard.
Okay.
And it does the same thing, except not in the air vent, so I get the air. So it'll be here on Sunday because it's free 2-day shipping. You know
awesome.
How it works. So anyway, I know you shop on Amazon too. You know it's a free way to support the show and help us out. It's free. To help us out, support the show, all you have to do is go to our website and click on the Amazon link before you do your shopping. It's that simple. We get a cut of your purchase, and all you have to do is go to GuysTellingStories.com, click on the Amazon link. You can help us and support this show, and it's free. GuysTellingStories.com, click the Amazon link. We really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Benjamin Watson.
He wrote a book. You know why he wrote a book?
Why did he write a book?
He's got a lot of kids.
He does. He has, I think, 5 children.
Yep.
And he is pretty open and honest with his relationship with his children, his wife. Mm-hmm. And he wrote an amazing new book, The New Dad's Playbook. And we are looking to talk to him about everything.
You know people that can write playbooks?
Yes.
People that are experts.
Yes. Yeah.
He's an expert of this.
I'm excited to give him a call. So let's talk to Benjamin.
Boom.
All right, Benjamin. Hey, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh, great.
Pleasure.
Pleasure to have you on.
It's our first football player.
Absolutely. Yeah. First NFL player.
Well, there you go.
First NFL player.
That's a lot of pressure.
Well, let me start off by just asking, how's the rehab going?
Rehab is going well. Missed all last year with the torn Achilles. It's probably the toughest. It is the toughest injury I've been through. I've had a number of them, but this one is a beast. But I'm right on schedule. I'm running and doing everything I should be doing, so I'm getting pretty close.
Awesome.
Well, that's great to hear. Awesome. Benjamin, we'd like to direct the listeners to where they can go to learn more about you online and to check out your new book, The New Dad's Playbook. Where's the best place for them to go?
The best place for the book is newdadsplaybook.com, newdadsplaybook.com. There you can see all the information about the book, different endorsements, different short little words of advice that I have, also you can see where to purchase the book. You can purchase it pretty much at any, brick and mortar as well as online at a number of different outlets. And as far as my personal information, Twitter is Benjamin S. Watson, as well as Facebook, Benjamin Watson Official. So that whole social media universe is how we connect these days. So you can find me on there too.
Absolutely. So definitely, check them out there. Well, Benjamin, we like to take the listeners on a little bit of a journey through your life, and we like to always start with a root story, like home life when you were growing up, family, and I know that's kind of where we're headed to later with the discussion. So can you tell us a little bit about your roots?
Definitely. I was born in Norfolk, Virginia. I grew up there for the most part, as well as Rock Hill, South Carolina. I'm the oldest of 6 kids. My parents had 6 of us, 4 boys, 2 girls. And we're all pretty much grown now, out of the house, doing our own different things. I had a great household growing up. My mom and dad really, they were there for us, taught us, about life and about the Lord and just about how to care for each other. Very a sports-oriented family. All of us played sports for the most part. I started playing sports at a young age and played. Actually, soccer was my favorite sport.
Really?
And I love to play soccer. But my dad played football at the University of Maryland, and so I kind of gravitated toward football later on in high school. And went to Duke University first on a football scholarship, transferred from Duke, went to University of Georgia, finished out at the University of Georgia, and met my wife there. We've been married for 11 years now. So.
Great.
Fantastic.
Any other professional athletes in your family?
Well, my sister is actually trying out right now for a volleyball team in Sweden. She's been overseas playing volleyball. She went to Clemson University and played volleyball there. And she's been overseas going to school, getting her master's as well as playing volleyball. So she's been doing a little bit of pro volleyball overseas as well as some domestic, a little bit here and there. Had another sister that ran track, not professionally, but in college, and a brother that played football in college as well.
Cool.
Yeah, so the athleticism runs in the family, but I got to ask you, if soccer was that main sport and Dad played football, do you remember when you had to start focusing on one over the other?
Yeah, I do. I was in 8th grade, and the school I went to, I believe, football was in the fall, of course, and if I'm not mistaken, soccer was in the spring, but also track was in the spring, and I knew eventually I wanted to play football. I played soccer because my dad wouldn't let me play football until I got to about high school.
Okay.
And so, I played soccer up until JV, and then I started doing football and track in the spring because, track would kind of segue into football, helped me there. So, but football has always kind of been a thread. I've always enjoyed the sport.
That sounds great. And you mentioned that you met your wife at school. So I'm curious, was she athletic as well? Did it sort of kind of something that you guys bonded on?
Training room romance.
Well, exactly. Well, ironically, she was a softball player. She actually had walked on the softball team at University of Georgia the year that I transferred from Duke University. And there's an organization called Fellowship of Christian Athletes. They're in a lot of different campuses across the country, high school, college. It's a big sports organization for athletes. And she was playing sports, and I was too. So we actually met in that organization, in that club. And then it took a couple of years for us to figure it out, and we started dating and all that sort of thing. But we did meet kind of because of sports, and really that was her only year playing softball at Georgia was the year that we ended up meeting. So I guess it was kind of meant to be at that point.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like the theme of this episode, this interview with you, might be a little bit of balance, balance in the family life, balance in the relationships with the sports and the job. So, in that early stages of your relationship, how do you balance that? How do you balance, a budding relationship with your future wife and getting serious with sports?
Well, it's just really, it's not even really a balance so much as being able to be totally invested in whatever you're doing at that specific time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I wasn't always good at it. I could still be better at it, but a lot of times we allow our profession to bleed into our personal life, meaning that, if our professional life is going how we want it to go, then we feel good about ourselves, and our self-worth is tied to how we perform. And we tend to treat people around us that are closest to us positively if our professional life is going well, and negatively if it's not going well. And so one of the things that it took me all the way halfway through my NFL career to realize that, you know what, work has to stay at work and home needs to stay at home. And I can't allow my professional life, my job, to determine how I treat my family. As crazy as that sounds,
right.
Sometimes that's what happens. And so, for me, even, starting early before we had kids to now where we have 5 children, that's kind of been the way I balance, if you want to call it, is allowing certain things to stay in their own segment and to really put a priority on what needs to have a priority, which, when you're at home, it's your family. When you go to work, obviously you do your best at the job you've been given.
So we often, when we talk to people, we ask them about a success story, and usually it's after they've achieved their success, and you're kind of in the middle of it. You're still playing football. You just wrote a book, but before, like, what is something that you've accomplished, and what's a main success in your life besides these 2 things that you're currently doing now?
Well, I kind of feel like. Obviously, one of my goals in life was to make it to the end. Was really to play college football. My dad played college football. I've always wanted to be like him and make it to college football. So I made it to college football. Then, as time went on through college football, I had a goal of making it to the NFL. And I accomplished that goal. But even in that, there's always, you always want to get better at your craft. You always want to improve. But as I look, over my life from here, looking backwards, my greatest accomplishments, I think had to do with my family, had to do with really my relationship with my wife. We, like any relationship, in the first couple of years of marriage are tough. They're rough. You don't like each other. You don't like each other a lot of times. It was like, I love you, but I don't like you right now. There's always these ups and downs. And, I remember one time my wife told me, she said, I see how you fight on the field. You see how you fight to be the best football player you can be. Whatever it is, when you get home off the field, you do extra work, all those sorts of things. And how about you fight for me in our relationship the way you fight for your career?
Mm-hmm.
Like, ouch, right?
Yeah, right.
but I mean, looking back, it's like, that's, to me, that's an accomplishment, is not quitting when it got tough, getting counseling when we needed counseling, reading books, going to seminars, having tough conversations, and seeing the fruit of where we are now, and where we're going from where we were a decade ago, is night and day. So to me, that's something that I am proud of.
I'm curious, what does that look like for you? She challenges you to step up and do more for the relationship. So, number one, what does that look like? And number 2, was it easy?
No, it's not easy because I'm a very prideful person. And so I've got, that's definitely a shot to the ego. Immediately you want to strike back. Well, what did you say? You don't do everything perfect either. We always have some sort of response whenever we're challenged in a certain way. And I know different. I want to respond, but, there's certain times when you realize that, she's right. I mean, anything that's worth accomplishing or anything that's of any value takes time to accomplish it, and it takes sacrifice. Stuff doesn't just happen. There's one thing I learned in football is teams don't just win the Super Bowl. They don't just wake up and go out there and just be better than everybody. Right? It takes a tremendous amount of work the whole year. Maybe 3 years ago, they're working towards it, and then it finally culminates in a victory. We can't enter our relationships as husbands, as partners, as parents, fathers, mothers, thinking that it's just going to go as we want it to just because we get out of bed in the morning. These sorts of things take work, and sometimes they're messy. And so one thing I do realize is that when I do put that work in, I will reap benefits. And it's the same way in my relationship with my wife.
So we're recording. We're in Buffalo, New York, recording this. Can you just go over what it takes to win again? so that
Oh, it's been too long.
Yeah, I know. It's wrong. I remember some of those games in Buffalo. One thing when I was with the Patriots, we used to, whenever we got the schedule, I would always look at December because I wanted to see where we were playing in December. And every single year, I swear, it seemed like we were at Buffalo on like December 31st. And it was like, let's get in here, let's play the game, let's win, and let's get out of here before we get snowed in.
Good news is the game didn't really mean anything for either one of us. So,
well, sometimes it did, but many times it didn't.
Well, you know, if we move the listeners forward just a little bit in your story, you're the father of 5 children. But, you know, if we go back to that moment in your relationship with your wife while you're still playing football, where you guys find out you're pregnant with your first, you know, can you talk a little bit about what you were thinking and going through there? Because that's a big transition.
Oh, definitely, yeah. We were married for about 3 years. We always talked about wanting to have 4 kids. And so we waited about 3 years. We did some traveling. My wife was working downtown in Boston, and we decided to start having kids, and we literally had 4 kids in 4.5 years. Like, we just went rapid fire. And I remember when we were pregnant with when she was pregnant with us first. Grace is 8 years old now, and the year was 2008. She was born in January of 2009, so much into 2008. That was the year Tom Brady got hurt. We didn't go to the playoffs. We were 11-5. But I remember finding out, and I found out it may be, I don't know, mid-year. And then it's always, okay, what's the due date going to be? And so the due date was actually Super Bowl Sunday.
Oh, boy.
February 2nd of 2009 was the due date. And that happened to be the 1 year when I was there that we didn't make the playoffs. So everything worked out. We actually watched the Super Bowl from the delivery room. But when I first found out she was pregnant, I was excited, as everybody is, and just happy about becoming a father. And then it was like, oh my goodness, I'm about to become a father. Am I ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
What do I do? What's the next step? How do I prepare? Am I man enough to do this? Like, will I be a good dad? Can I take care of Kirsten? Can I take care of her through this pregnancy process? How is it gonna look? Like, I don't know what to expect. What's her body gonna do? All those sorts of things. And because of all those questions is part of the reason why my wife actually said I need to write a handbook for men entering pregnancy with the women, and the reason why we have the New Dad's Playbook right now.
That's beautiful. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's something that is resonating with me right now. My wife and I have been married for going on 4 years, and we're talking about children. We've done the traveling, and we love it, but I think we're ready. It's just, like you mentioned, a little scary. You start to kind of reflect a little bit and question and get a little anxious, and you just don't know what to expect. And
You better check the Super Bowl date that's coming up, because, we might have plans.
Right.
You never know. But guys have questions all the time, and in the book I talk about a lot of them. I talk about, as a man, obviously there's the finances. You wonder, okay, do I make enough money? How many kids can I have? And the one thing I want to get across is that no matter how much money you're making, that's really not the ultimate litmus test when it comes to if you should have kids. I mean, my parents raised 6 of us on very little, and we never missed a meal. We all went to college. We turned out pretty good, I think. So it's really not all about finances, but being a man, finance is something that comes up. So I talk about, how much money can you expect to spend when you, how do you need to save? How do you need to be planning for your estate, your will, whatever it may be? I talk about, getting a registry done and baby showers and, how to deal with morning sickness and all these other things we talk about in this book.
Yeah, it sounds like you're answering a lot of questions that these men probably haven't even thought of yet, but when they finally do, they can turn to the book and
the handbook.
Yeah, the handbook.
Yeah, that's exactly,
that's a playbook. It's just like anything. Turn to the page and read the play. So, I was listening to a coworker talk today, and her daughter just had their first, and she was reflecting being a grandma. She goes, I was on the other side of the curtain. She goes, I've given birth 3 times, but I'm on the other side of the curtain. And then she's just started chuckling. She's like, oh boy, I never knew what it was like on the other side. So, being a man, being a father, you've been there multiple times already. What was it like being there for your first? Were you in the delivery room? What was the whole experience?
I was in the delivery room. Wasn't going to miss it. I had questions. I can remember being at practice that year and talking to guys who had who were fathers, and actually I remember being in Gillette Stadium at a practice, and the defense was on the field, and as an offensive player, I was watching. It wasn't our turn to go yet, and I was talking to a guy who played running back. And we were talking about whether you look or not, or don't look when the baby comes out. I remember this vividly.
Yes.
And he was like, man, I never looked. I had 3 kids. I can't look. And I'll never look at her the same if I look. And that was just how he felt. And so he was just being honest. I've looked with all my kids. The first time I kind of thought about it, and I said, what? I'm not missing this. So I was watching as she entered the world. And I was, soothing and encouraging my wife as she was, going through the process of labor. Later on, if you fast forward to kids 4 and 5, I actually delivered them out of the birth canal. So, you get more and more comfortable as time
I
goes
guess
on.
so.
Wow, yes. I mean, we just took it from, wondering if you should look or not look. And then you were there for the real, that was a real
tight end. He's supposed to catch the ball once in a while.
He's not dropping it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, well, we always like to ask about a challenge, and feel free to take that where you'd like. What was a struggle that you had to overcome that you're, ultimately better for?
One of the biggest challenges that we faced over our 11 years, and really when it comes to having children, is I feel like whenever we're about to have a child that I'm going to lose my wife. And in a sense you do for a little bit. Her body's changing, her energy's changing, her hormones are changing. There's so much that goes into it, especially, you have the first one, then when you have multiples and you're having another one, I talk about this as well, that dynamic, and it can get really contentious at times. And my wife and I are both oldest children. We don't like to lose arguments, and and that can lead for some arguments that last for a long time if no one is willing to concede and understand that we're both on the same team. And I think learning how to, number one, acknowledge the insecurities that you have and the worries that we have when it comes to different things that come up in a relationship. And then being able to confront them together in an honest fashion has been a place where we've grown, where 10 years ago, our first few years of marriage, we may get in an argument and really not want to talk to each other for a while. Whereas now, even if we feel that way, we're able to be open enough to address it and understand, we got to fix this because the family depends on it. And we can't be so prideful that just because we have an argument, we can't be willing to confess and ask forgiveness or whatever it may be that we need to do to get past something. So I would say relationally, that's been a huge challenge, but one that we've gotten a lot better at.
It's nice to hear you say that and open up about insecurities that you've had, and I think as a professional athlete, we've both met a few, and I have a couple hockey friends, and I think for them it's always difficult to admit that they even have these insecurities. It is so wired into them to perform at a high level all the time, and we're not going to lose, and I have to fight and fight and fight, that it's often difficult to even just acknowledge that you have any faults or any insecurities. And I think a lot of athletes actually struggle with that. So it's nice to hear you just open up about it and talk about it.
Well, one of the biggest ways to get over things like that is to open up about it. I've struggled over my life with perfectionism, playing in the NFL, playing sports. As you mentioned, you are judged on your performance, not really your self-worth as a human, but really how well can you perform on a given task, on a given Sunday, or in a given practice, and that's how we're wired. And so I struggled a lot with that throughout my career, and really giving myself grace to fail and understand that in my failure, it's not a direct indictment on my humanity or my worth. And actually, when I give myself some of that grace to fail, I can really accomplish new heights, not only in my professional life, but in my personal life as well.
So down the road in the future, what do you have planned? I mean, you have the book out now, The New Dad's Playbook.
Well, right now, I'm trying to get ready for the football season. My immediate goal right now is to play another year with the Ravens. Last year, as we talked about earlier in this podcast, didn't go well with my injury, and so my goal is to get back on the field and play. And I would say the last couple of years with the New Dad's Playbook, as well as another book that I wrote not too long ago, a couple of years ago, on a different topic, have really let me know that there are a lot of interests that I have and different things that I can speak to and things that I'm passionate about. So I don't know exactly what's in the far future. We talk about 5 years or 10 years. I try to live day to day and take every day and make the most of it. But right now, it's just trying to get ready for the season because it is quickly approaching.
Absolutely. It sure is. Benjamin, we do like to ask for a little advice, and I'd love to keep it in the dad realm if you don't mind. Any advice you'd give to that dad who's just starting out, something he can do for his children, for his wife?
Well, listen to your wife. Dads are fixers. We want to We want to make sure everything is right, and there's a time for fixing things. When it comes to the nursery or the crib, whatever it may be, you want to fix it, put it together. I get it. But as far as what she's going through, listen. Sometimes the best thing to do is listen and embrace. There was a time my wife was struggling with morning sickness, and I didn't know what to do. And I come up behind her. She's throwing up. I come up behind her. I hold her. I didn't think anything of it. But in all the trying to help her, the buying maternity clothes, the this, that, and the other I was doing, I heard her say years later that was the best thing I ever did for her.
Wow.
So that I tried to empathize with her and get into her pain because there was nothing really that I could do. So learning how to be a good listener throughout this process will serve you very well because there's going to be things that you just can never imagine, and you got to be flexible with those things. The other thing is being present. And when I say being present, I mean kind of what we talked about before is when you're in the home, engaging with your kids, engaging with your family, engaging with their mother on an emotional level and not allowing what's going on the outside, what you're dealing with at work, to permeate what's going on in the safety and the sanctity of your home.
Well, good. I hope my brother's listening to this.
He is. Yeah, he just had a new one. So that's great advice. Yeah.
So what other, aside from your book, what other resources would you recommend for new fathers and all fathers?
Great question. There's a book that I've read by a friend of mine. It's called Family Driven Faith. It's a book about leading your family as a provider, the protector of your home. It's really a challenge to manhood. Also, there's other resources on a website called All Pro Dad. I don't know if you're familiar with All Pro Dad, but All Pro Dad was started by a guy named Mark Merrill and Tony Dungy, Coach Tony Dungy.
Oh yeah.
And if you go to All Pro Dad, you can go on their website, their Twitter or Facebook, and you will get resources sent to you, or you can just read the articles on there. Everything from daddies and daughters, or daddies and sons, or relationship with the parents, or what happens when you make a mistake in parenting, or dealing with finances, or dealing with babies all the way up to teenagers, to what do you do when you open the door and your daughter's kissing a stranger? You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
Is Tony? Do I want to hear this from Tony Dungy?
Yeah.
Well, there's all sorts of resources from different writers that they've accumulated and they put on this site. So there's different writers that write about different topics, but it's really been a great resource for me when it comes to fatherhood, especially. It's called All Pro Dad.
Little off topic about the book. Coach Dungy, did he ever coach you?
He did not. He did not. But the thing about Coach Dungy, he's one of those coaches that I remember being in New England and playing against the Colts. And after the game, you usually don't say anything to the opposite coach, to the opposing coach, because you don't really know them. You just know the players. But I remember making it a point to go to him and shake his hand, because he's one of those guys that if you were to ask guys around the league, if there's one coach that you would like to play for, but you never got the chance, many of them would say Coach Dungy. He has that type of respect around the league, and since he's left in the NFL, I've gotten to know him a little bit. He actually, endorsed this book and another one that I wrote. So we have a bit of a relationship now, and somebody that I have the utmost respect for, not just as a father, but really as a man in general.
Well, Benjamin, this has been great, especially, Bill, and I'll say this for me. I talk about my wife all the time on this podcast, and I know she listens, and I think she'll be kind of talking to me about some of the lessons and some things along the way.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you're going to get it.
So maybe one more time for the listeners, where can they find your book? Where can they follow you online?
Yes, newdadsplaybook.com. Newdadsplaybook.com. You can find out more information about the book. You can order there. You can also go online to any retailer and check out the book. You can follow me on Twitter at Benjamin S. as in Seth, Benjamin S. Watson, and also on Facebook at Benjamin Watson as well. So,
well, this was a lot of fun for us.
Yeah, I got a lot out of this one. This was great, Benjamin. Thanks so much, and I really appreciate it. Thanks for sharing the stories about growing up and all the family and being a dad and everything.
And good luck with your rehab.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Good luck in Buffalo.
Take care.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Benjamin Watson. Bill.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, what a well-spoken guy, and it sounds like he really knows his stuff. I mean, 5 kids. You'd know your stuff by then too, right?
It's kind of cool that you just open up about family and stuff, and obviously his wife is a very powerful, strong woman as well.
Absolutely.
And it's cool to hear how the relationship and balance works.
Yeah, he has little ones at home, and it's really cool. He's putting together something that people can use, and I'm going to check it out.
Sounds good.
Hey, quick reminder that we do need your help in deciding the winner of our t-shirt design contest this season, and we're giving away a free shirt. So if you'd like to be entered in the giveaway, all you got to do is share Benjamin's episode on Facebook.
And after I do not win this sweepstakes that Rich is planning, I will go to Amazon and buy my own shirt. But before I do that, I'm going to go to guystellingstories.com and click on the Amazon link. That is how we support the show. So when you're shopping, please, 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 especially on Amazon, always on Amazon, go to Guys Telling Stories, click on the Amazon link. We get a cut of that purchase right from Amazon. Doesn't cost you anything. It's free for you. It just helps us out. So if you want to help the show out, please do it.
Yeah, I just used it the other day for a grad gift, and I know Father's Day is coming up, speaking of Dad's Playbook. So hit up Amazon before you go shopping for one of those. All right, Bill, great interview today.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was refreshing to talk to a professional athlete who's still in the peak of his career, and he is also doing an amazing other things, raising 5 kids and writing books. Oh, that's great. So,
Rehab's no joke.
Oh, no.
Not an Achilles.
I wish him the best.
Good luck.
All right, as always, guys, thank you so much for listening to the show, and if you like what you hear, share it with a friend, subscribe, and I'm Rich Douglas.
I'm Bill Easton.
Until next time.